Sweet band name.
What's up, everybody? I am Jesse, or GameOverJesse, as all of you may know me, and here with us for episode 35 of the Highlands Gamescast is Gibbs for the very first time. We also have Axel the Beast returning, and our co-host Daniel.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, on today's podcast, we're going to be talking a lot about E3, some leaks, some predictions, and, of course, some Zelda discussions about, well, actually, this time it's not just Zelda, but we're going to be talking about 6 insane gaming theories, since you guys love us just going down lists and debunking or confirming the theories and such. And then
always a good time.
And then we go into our Zelda mailbag, where we take in questions sent in from people like yourself, but if you would like your question to be guaranteed to be on the show, head over to patreon.com/GameOverJesse and show your support, just as Jacob, Michael, Elmer, Gus, Justin, Ashley, the one pancake, Key of Time 15, Monica, Casey, Link uses the Triforce, Megan, Lunarium, Robbie Morgan, Shadow to Us, Rusty, and Lovable Christy, has.
Don't forget about Lovable Christy.
Yeah, always Daniel's favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Alright,
Yes.
So everybody already knows who you are, Axel. You've been on here a few times, but Gibbs, how may everybody know who you are?
Well, I am an admin there in the Discord chat. If anybody wants to join the Discord, the link is down below in the description box, I believe, where you can always just @, me and have a good conversation with me, or sometimes I do talk about theories and whatnot, and that's where you can find me.
Nice. Alright,
Yes,
so
very active in the chat.
starting off
Unlike me.
our podcast, we're going to be talking about, each of us, we're going to list off 2 predictions that we have. So not quite a top 10, but a top 8 prediction of what we expect from Nintendo's E3. We're about a week away, if that. So starting with Daniel this time.
I think before we start with that, we have to show off for all the people watching that may not be in the Discord, may not have already known. What's going on with your hair, Jesse?
Oh yeah,
what's going on with that?
I have a haircut. There's a lot of hair has been chopped off. But
look at that.
I went to a wedding over the weekend, and it was a requirement by my brother that I looked presentable. So,
Quote unquote.
yeah,
Presentable.
yeah. And I told him like I could like just straighten my hair out, and it would look fine. Like it wouldn't look like a huge mess like it usually is. But he wasn't going for that. So
He's like, no!
we picked out some haircuts. He gave me a choice, but it was like a choice of 3.
Mohawk wasn't one of them?
No, I don't know if I would get a mohawk anyways. But yeah, I noticed after the haircut that age was catching up with me, because my hairline is going back a little bit. So yeah. Some bad news for Jesse.
My wife keeps telling me that my hairline is getting up there too, and I just refuse to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
So
I'm just happy it's not quite as bad as my brother's is. So.
Oh yeah, I saw some of the pictures actually. I don't want to say anything too bad, but it did look like a beautiful wedding though.
Yeah, it was very nice. I had like the smallest piece of the cake ever, so it tasted almost like any normal birthday cake would. I thought it, for some reason I was imagining that like they're all just different styles of cake, but for some reason I was imagining it would taste better since it was like 10 times the price of a normal cake, but nope.
Yeah.
No, it's just 10 times the size.
Exactly. All right, so E3 predictions, guys, and everyone in the chat, you can come along with us. If we see something interesting while we're talking, we'll give you a bit of a shout out for it. And actually, you know what I forgot to do, guys?
What?
Everyone watching, let us know what the hell the levels are. Does anyone need to be turned down? Does anyone need to be turned up?
Are we too loud or quiet?
Want to make sure
I think they probably would have jumped on it already, but
yeah. Well, let me listen. Everyone talk really quick. So Daniel,
I am talking.
I know how to talk.
all right.
Talk about what? Why am I
Bananas.
here?
How do you
All
feel
right.
about bananas?
You guys sound good to me. Axel might be a little bit louder than the rest of you.
Do you want me to
that's
adjust my
just his
mic?
personality.
Your face is just your personality.
I know. That's everything you need to know is right here.
Actually, I can turn Axel down. I
I
already
just mean like microphone or not, if you're talking to Axel, like he's the loudest one in the room probably.
All right. So I got Axel on 28, so everyone should be good. Let's make sure everyone else is like not too loud as well.
Face?
Gibbs is all the way up, so we gotta put it down. All right, say something, Gibbs.
Something.
Nailed it.
Great.
Bravo. All right, so to get started, oh, you guys can see the chat there. All right, a little behind the scenes, I guess. All right, so
a
E3
little.
predictions. Daniel, what do you have for us?
Okay. I haven't thought too hard about this, but
Yeah.
I really think, because they've been very quiet about it, I just maybe wishful thinking as well. I just really want to see something Metroid Prime 4. Please give us a trailer and a subtitle.
All right, so here's the thing. Do you think we'll get gameplay trailer, or is it going to be like a CG fest? Like last year, we seen Beyond Good and Evil 2, but it was like straight up Pixar animation.
Right.
Like there was no actual gameplay there.
This is Nintendo, though. You know, they do.
Well, did you remember
tend
the
to
first
lean
trailer of
towards-
Breath of the Wild?
Yeah,
that one was a pre-rendered one,
Yeah, and they were like, no, this is all in-game footage. And I'm like, no, there's no way a
not.
Wii U could look like that.
But I mean, no, it was pretty true to the look of the game in the end.
Yeah,
Like,
but it was like the look of the game if you're playing on PC at max settings on 4K.
well, that's the thing, yeah. But that was the same thing with like
the
I don't know,
style was very similar, but
yeah, it was definitely in the art style, but
it wasn't like
definitely looked a little nicer.
my favorite quote from Miyamoto or Aonuma was when he was talking about the Zelda Wii U tech demo. He said that if the idea was if they were to remake Twilight Princess in HD, this could be how it would look like. That's the example that he gave.
But that's not how their actual
Yeah, but then like
remake looked at all.
yeah, 2-3 years later when they actually showed off Twilight Princess HD, I was like, but that just looks like it's running on an emulator with like custom textures and new lighting.
That's pretty much what they did for it, though. They just retextured and relit things.
Yeah, they didn't put it in the new engine like with
It wasn't
Wind
like
Waker.
Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask 3D,
Yeah.
where there was a
But-
huge overhaul.
If you've seen the image that they showed off during the video, no, what was it? Game something conference. The Germany one, I think, the GDC, yeah, Games Developers
Right.
Conference. They gave the speech about the making of Breath of the Wild, and they showed off the image of Wind Waker Link, Twilight Princess Link, and Skyward Sword Link all standing together, but it's being rendered. Like, all of them have updated models, and it was rendered with the Breath of the Wild engine.
Mm-hmm.
And they all look amazing there. Like, that Twilight Princess looks closer to the Zelda Wii U tech demo, but not quite as good.
I need
as...
to look at this image because I wanna see
I
that,
showed it
but-
to you before. We used it as I've used it as a thumbnail twice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, one was
Well,
one was the full
Terrible
image.
memories.
Yeah, one was the full image, and the other was like cut in half and placed with another image.
Right.
So, but yeah.
But yeah, Metroid does. I think they would show. I'm more leaning towards them showing gameplay. At least not like a full gameplay trailer, but at least like give us something. I don't know. Just they've done nothing since last year. They've given us a logo, not even a working logo, not even like the proper logo with subtitles. So just to see anything from Metroid would be great, please. That's my number one.
All right. Moving to you, Gibbs. Do you have a prediction for us?
Prediction: I do hope they will, like Daniel was saying, the Metroid, but he took it from me.
I'm sorry, I took the obvious one.
It's alright. I hope there will be some type of maybe Zelda remake, even if it's 2D or something like that. Just a little surprise on there. I mean, they already released information on Pokemon because they had to get ahead of the leakers, or maybe even just save time on their actual press conference on E3. So I'm hoping maybe for a Zelda 2D show off.
Well, the rumor is Link's Awakening is getting some sort of remake.
The bridge.
The Legend of Zelda Bridge. Yeah. That's an inside joke for anyone who's seen the past episodes. Because
there was a supposed link, a link between islands.
Yeah, and I'm like, a link between islands. It's called a bridge.
Bridge.
Yeah.
It's a bridge. Yeah.
Maybe that's Link's name in it. Instead of
Bridge.
Bridge. No, alright. So
that's just like his uncle's name.
Yeah.
I would love to see a 2D Zelda. Anything. I love the 2D style of play because that's the business I grew up with. So I'm 100% blinded by nostalgia there. But
yeah, I think
that would be good.
It's very, very possible. If we don't get a remake, I think we'll either get a remake or a new 2D Zelda game. So, but moving on to you, Mr. Beast.
I also would have given the same one that Daniel did, but I'm actually still going to give it because I have an add-on to it.
Okay.
I'm certain we will get Metroid Prime 4. I'm actually 100% certain.
Gameplay?
I'll be covering. I suspect it will be a general trailer, probably with some mix of pre-rendered stuff. They're going to show as little as they can because I don't think they'll have a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Well, basically, I'm expecting some kind of mix of just flashiness and general editing and some pre-rendered stuff and some short bits of gameplay. Just kind of like a bare bones trailer is kind of what I'm looking for. Like the stereotypical announcement trailer, really.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like we got for like the original Metroid Prime and stuff. That's kind of what I'm expecting.
Right. But I'm just thinking, like, how good is this game going to look? Because the Prime games were, like, really good looking for the GameCube.
Yeah.
Like, that was, like, one of the best looking games on the GameCube. Then Prime 3 on the Wii looked the same as the GameCube games. So, but I'm just thinking it's been a couple generations now. But widescreen.
It used that tiny bit of extra. Yeah, it used the very, very tiny bit of extra power that the Wii had to add like a few inches to the side.
But now we're like, a couple generations ahead. I can't wait to see how good this game looks, like visually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exciting. So
he's pumped.
I really am.
So do any of you think there's going to be any chance of like having a demo on the show floor?
I don't think it's likely. It's not impossible because I'm actually fuzzy on how long the game's been developed for, but I don't think it's likely. I think we're going to get something fairly bare bones, but I do think there will be some kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like you can press X and start up the logo.
And it comes out in the same, like it unfolds.
Yeah.
In the chat, Teddy Bear says Other M looked really good on the Wii. I think so, like visually, for what the Wii could do, especially the cutscenes and stuff. Like you kind of forget that console was on the Wii almost, or that game was on the Wii because it just looked very good for a Wii title. But Prime 3 did not look visually, like, it played fun. It was a good gameplay, but it didn't visually look like much of an upgrade from the GameCube titles. And even though it was like it was like 2009 by that point. The first one came out in 2001, and so, I don't know. It's just kind of a oh well there. But yes, I forget that Other M exists most of the time, Heavy Bear. So thanks for pointing that out to me.
The only thing good about that game was the graphical design, and that's about it.
Yeah. I liked Other M,
but I just the big sticking point for me is I don't like the design of Samus's power suit in Other M. I think they like.
It's an odd sticking point.
No, but it just looks too. It doesn't look like she doesn't have like a powerful look to her. You know, I need those giant shoulders.
Yeah, the basketball-sized shoulders.
Yeah, like unreasonably large shoulders. That's like the defining feature, and they just like toned it down so much. And she just for some reason the cannon like looked almost too narrow in my opinion. I don't know. It is a very weird sticking point, but you have to stare at her character model the whole game, and for me to not like looking at it is a big deal for me. So,
all right, I'm gonna say
the monsters.
I'm gonna say something I've been saying 1,000 times.
Daniel, shut up.
No. For the 20th anniversary, Ocarina of Time HD. It'll either be a completely remade from the ground up, or just the 3D version in HD, as if you were running it on an emulator, but with like texture updates. So that's
you have said it a lot, but every time, like the more you say it, the more convinced I am of. The first time you brought it up, I was like, I don't think they'll do that.
Yeah,
but now I'm like,
Grezzo. I was thinking Grezzo might be the ones to do it, but it was recently announced that they were working on Luigi's Mansion for the 3DS. So, there's a bug. All right.
There's always who was it worked on Twilight Princess HD?
Tantalus.
Tantalus. Yeah, maybe it would be neat. I don't know if we know what they're up to.
Yeah.
But if they were working on it, if they did a better job, then. Okay, I actually really like Twilight Princess HD, but
yeah, they didn't just update the game; they actually had to work in all of the amiibo features, and then they created technically a new dungeon, but it was kind of a copy paste with different enemies of the Cave of Ordeals.
Your face is a cave of ordeals.
But they retextured everything.
Oh yeah,
even shrubbery. So they did put a great deal of work into it, but it still didn't feel as big of a huge increase as the other remakes that we had done. So.
Wind Waker was one of the best, but they just repurposed the same engine, which instead of using an engine that was designed for the Wii U, they just used the GameCube engine, which doesn't work out that great because if you get next to waterfalls in the game, like around Lake Hylia or Zora's Domain, whatever, you'll see the game goes to 8 frames a second.
Oh.
So it slows down a lot to where it's actually very just stuttery. I noticed it because I was trying to 100% the game, and it also has slowdowns in the forest area where you have to go with the monkey and the lantern to get rid of the poison fog.
Oh yes.
So there's slowdowns there as well. Kind of like when you're in the Korok Forest for Breath of the Wild, but it's actually more. So in a way, Twilight Princess HD is more demanding on the Wii U than Breath of the Wild, which is yeah. But Breath of the Wild uses an engine that was made for the Wii U and the Switch, whereas the other engine was just taking an engine that was designed for completely different hardware and then trying to get it to work on a new system. Whereas Wind Waker HD used the Breath of the Wild engine because that's how they said they wanted to use that engine so they could get used to working with the engine on the Wii U, so they could have like a head start with making Breath of the Wild. So anyways,
thinking, wouldn't it be funny if they did a remake of Ocarina of Time on the N64 and for some reason used the same engine from the N64.
Sounds like a terrible idea.
That game does not lag at all. That's all I'm saying.
No.
There's zero lag in that game.
1080p, 60 FPS. Do you know how you'd be able to put like 1 billion enemies on the screen at the same time?
That's true. You know,
you could probably like, what was it? The Animal Crossing on Nintendo 64 came out in Japan, but then they ported it to the GameCube for the Western audience. But because it was a Nintendo 64 game running on the GameCube, you could load up the game and then take out the disc and beat the entire game, because it loads the entire game into the RAM.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
because
that.
the file size was so small that instead of just loading up whatever section, it would load up the entire game. So it's like all stored in the RAM. And
wow.
Yeah.
That is a juicy bit of trivia. I love that.
Yeah, that's actually cool.
But
that's why I try that now.
Well, if you have it, go do it.
I don't have it though. That's the only problem. To go out and buy it now.
Yeah, like
and buy a GameCube.
I've never done that, but I've seen like on trivia facts and stuff. So going by what like Animal Crossing Wiki and other stuff says. So I assume if it was wrong, it would have been taken down. But whatever. Anyways, the 40-something people watching right now probably want us to move on. So back to you, Daniel.
Okay, another E3 majigger. I think the Pokemon games that were just announced, Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. I am really going out on a limb here, but I think a playable demo, just in like a little kiosk somewhere, would be really cool to see. I think it seems likely that, just given how popular Pokemon is, and then this is a game that I think is, it's not like their next generation. It's not Gen 8. This is sort of like a game that's bridging the gap between people who played the first generation, didn't play any games until Pokemon Go, and are just getting back into it. So for those people that might be around E3 that aren't hardcore Pokemon fans, to rope them back in with a playable demo of Let's Go would be really cool. So that's my take.
No, I agree with you. I think that's likely.
Yeah, I think that would be a really good move to have some type of playable demo, even if it's just a capture, emulation or something.
Yeah, I think I think if they did have a demo, they would probably have it so that maybe your 3 or 4 gym battles into the game, so you're not starting at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Because like the beginning of any game is kind of like a trivial part, and you probably have to like set through a bunch of text when you just want to jump in and actually play the game. So
yeah, exactly.
Like whenever they had the Wind Waker, they had the demo had 3 portions. One was like inside
the dungeon. Is like Forsaken Fortress, and then like the beginning of Dragon Roost Island, and the very beginning of one of the dungeons. I think Dragon Roost Cavern actually.
Yeah.
It's Dragon Roost Cavern.
It is. Okay, yeah.
All right.
In the chat real quick, Sad Crow Prince says that he can confirm the disc removal thing in Animal Crossing works.
Sweet.
He says, my sister and I used to do it to play on 2 GameCubes.
Wow.
Wow, guys.
So you fully gamed the system.
Exploited the hell of that. I love that.
That is actually really cool. I wonder if it would... No, you couldn't do it on the Wii because it resets when it pushes the disc out.
Yeah, that had to be an OG GameCube.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Gibbs. I forgot who was next. Sorry.
Which order we were going around in?
I am hoping for a N64 mini reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With maybe a secret game announcement or something like related to Zelda and Ocarina of Time. Maybe, I don't know. Give or take. I mean, they did it for Star Fox 2. Why not?
Zelda.
Yeah, why not? Let's say that one.
I would love to see Ura Zelda, but I think like the difference is Star Fox 2 is like fully completed and then not released.
Yeah, I'm not expecting
very easy. Ura Zelda was kind of in development hell, and then it kind of got reworked into other games.
I think what happened was there's interviews where Miyamoto said that it was completed, but then they had to where they didn't release it.
But it's
they had
Miyamoto.
they had
Miyamoto in an interview.
They had to alter the base game, so it was a complete story by itself without having the expansion.
Yeah.
So,
but if they do the N64 Mini, I'll go nuts. I love those classic edition consoles. Get up in 4 a.m. just to go get one.
It would be great, but I don't think they've ever announced one of the mini consoles at E3.
Right, but now we're this will be the 3rd generation in, right? So there's probably a lot more hype around it than the previous 2. All the people who couldn't get those ones, or even those of us who did, and have been waiting, knowing that that's coming now. I can see it happening. I don't know.
All right. What about you, Axel? What's your final prediction?
Nintendo oriented, right?
No, not necessarily. If you wanna jump outside the Nintendo box, if you've got.
I think we can finally expect some actual details on King 3, if that counts.
I imagine it'll be playable.
So, yeah, I think we're at that point at this finally. Because last year he was just like, "Oh, I have a little bit. Oh, you want more? Well, okay." And he was just trolling everyone, drip feeding new information during the conference, and then finally they just show an actual trailer of the game. Finally, I feel like it's after that, it's just gonna happen now.
Yeah, I expect it to be released sometime fairly soon, just because I don't think they would have invited random YouTubers to go out and play the game early if it wasn't close to being complete. Yeah. But then they had that whole press conference tied around Final Fantasy 15, and then they ended up delaying it again.
Yeah.
So who knows? But yeah,
yeah, I'm not commenting on when it'll come out. I'm just saying. I think we're going to get a lot on it, finally.
All right, so my last thing is... I had something I was thinking of earlier.
Oh, Jesse's broken.
But
Go find me, Jesse.
I forgot it. Oh my gosh.
It's the lack of hair.
Yeah. Now, who was so there was the story in the Bible of the guy that had his hair cut off and he lost his string.
Samson.
Yeah. So it's the same thing.
Is that you, but instead of superhuman strength, it's Zelda Nintendo knowledge.
Exactly. That's where it was all hidden. The years of script writing and article writing for Zelda YouTube channels and Zelda websites just vanished.
Oh no.
That's where you stored it.
Okay, so I think they'll do something similar to what they did with Smash Brothers on the Wii U and 3DS, to where for the build up to it, every week they the creator was showing off new screenshots every single day, and then there would be one big reveal every week. So I think they'll do something similar to, they'll show off a huge amount of the roster for Smash Brothers, but then every week until it releases, they'll have this is also a character, this is also a character, this is another character. But I think they'll show off almost half of the roster, and I think they'll say, but I think this is obvious, that it will have the biggest starting lineup to any other Smash Brothers game.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully.
I'd love to see more unlockables, though.
Yeah.
Because I think Smash 4, it has like a huge roster. I think it's like 50-something characters. But only like, there's like the DLC characters, which you have to buy, and then there's like 10 unlockable characters. So you have like this huge starting roster, which is great if you just want to jump into it. But I get like, I love unlocking them. That's half the fun for me, is like unlocking things.
You want the game to be coy with you?
A little, you know.
You want to be teased by your Smash Brothers?
I'm the gaming masochist, so I want to be made to work for it, you know. But yeah, no, I think that they'll have a huge roster, and I don't know what else they'll be planning. Anything's possible at this point, after like Clouds and Mega Man and Ryu. You know, I just feel like those ones. And Nintendo's been far more buddy with other developers this generation than, let's say, the Wii U era. So you don't know, man. Who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah,
I'm not saying anything.
As a bonus prediction, I think it's going to be obvious they'll announce more partnerships, like they had with Ubisoft, for like the Mario Rabbids thing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they'll even announce like Rabbids coming to like Mario Aces or whatever, the tennis game, because that would make sense since it's not a serious Mario game, that they would to help promote the other game have cross promotion downloads similar to what they had Xenoblade and Breath of the Wild. You could get that costume. So and then like Capcom always has, like in Monster Hunter, it always has like different Nintendo style outfits for the Nintendo versions. Even they had like the Bayonetta outfit in one of them.
I was just thinking Bayonetta actually.
Yeah. But I think they'll announce another big third party that they'll have plans with. So what is it?
So we're talking about video games, and they're having a discussion about Hercules. So
yeah, because of the hair. Because you mentioned what's his name again?
Because we brought up Samson.
Yeah.
I just find it very amusing.
My brother used to joke about that when he would always ask me when I'm getting my hair cut, and I would say never, because I've always, I guess the real answer would be kind of afraid of change, because then it's like, what if I get a cut and then I completely regret it? Because whenever I would think about getting my hair cut, I'm like, well, I have no idea how I would want it to be cut, because I'm too old.
Grow your hair back out again.
Yeah, that's true. You can it'll grow back.
So then, like, he would always bring up that story. Like, are you gonna like lose your superpowers or something if you get your hair cut?
I guess it happened.
Yeah,
it's true.
So
truth is out.
Our next news story. If Daniel, you want to read this? The leaked E3 documents, the only news link we have.
Yes.